It's the Odd Drunk Podcast, a very strange podcast. The drunkest show in the world. It's Jackson and Colton talking out of their ass. We don't care as long as drinks are poured. Sometimes we have our friends here. We will talk about anything. We don't care as long as we have beer. And if you let that whiskey ring. The Odd Drunk Podcast.
Welcome to the Odd Drunk. I'm doing my thing. I'm doing my bit. Let me do my bit, okay?
Okay.
Welcome to the... I'm doing a bit. Let me do my bit, Colton.
Sorry. Okay. Calm down.
Welcome to the Odd Drunk Podcast, the most zen podcast in the world. Not! In today's episode, we're going to be down on our knees, screaming to the sky, and just so angry.
Yeah.
Just pulling our hair out, smashing things, breaking things. I mean, we're not smashing anything because everything here is fairly expensive, and I don't want to smash it. I don't want to smash my bottle round, for instance.
Yeah.
But I wish...
There's not a lot of things here I'd like to smash.
But maybe if I get so angry, I'll
I'm sure I can find something we could smash later.
Yeah. But, get angry, get mad, get intense. Because tonight, or whatever, we are talking about, I would say pet peeves, but I think it goes beyond that.
Yeah.
Basically, we're talking about things that just completely enrage us. Things that we hate. Because we hate everything. Not everything.
Annoying shit.
Yes. Because there's been a lot of annoying things happen to me or happen around me that I want to rant about.
Yeah, we were going to do a different episode idea.
We were, but
then Jackson texted me a few days ago and said, let's rant about shit.
I was basically like, I'm pissed. I want to rant.
And I was kind of like, okay, I can rant about shit.
Like the beginning of this, the intro that was so perfectly executed. I've actually had a really nice, chill, good day today.
Yeah, it's been a good day.
So, we're going to build up to the rage. Once I start talking about these things, it's going to... Don't worry. I'm going to,
Yeah, I gotta say,
I'm always angry.
We're gonna rant about shit, but I'm not. I am actually like in a good mood right now.
I know.
I'm pretty chilled out at the moment.
We don't need to be chilled out. We need to be
drinking some cider here and
basically getting to Alex Jones
Jones mode.
Oh, they're turning the frogs gay. The water, the Democrats, the
Alex
Illuminati. I'm Alex Jones.
Alex, you are a...
How does that man...
I don't know.
How's he alive?
Yeah.
How's he not had a heart attack?
I would be saddened if he did die because he is so entertaining. And...
yeah, if you want to see... So his appearance on Joe Rogan, that's good stuff. Joe Rogan getting high while Alex Jones has an aneurysm. But
I don't understand how some people actually take Alex Jones seriously.
I know. But if you really want to look at an epic meltdown from him involving him, look at his interaction with the Young Turks. You know what I'm talking about. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
He comes into their news conference and just stirs up a bunch of shit and like a big fight breaks out. And, that's the kind of energy we need. We need that Alex Jones energy. Maybe not the dumb parts of it.
Yeah, maybe not the parts.
The intensity.
Maybe not the racist parts.
No, not the...
We don't need that energy. In fact, actually, we haven't plugged this in a while. On our Linktree, there's you can donate to anti-racist causes.
Yeah, please do.
You should do that.
You
anyway,
should.
but I get what you mean. We need the energy though.
Yeah.
Not the Ben Shapiro energy.
Maybe
the Alex Jones energy.
Yeah, Ben Shapiro's smart ass, you know.
He's the guy who thinks he's
I
logical.
know more than you.
He thinks he's super logical.
Yeah.
He's not.
But he's really just an asshole.
He knows nothing about logic. And his arguments are full of fallacies. And he's not as entertaining.
No.
As Alex Jones is.
Because while his arguments are full of plenty of fallacies and just complete batshit, you know, crazy theories, at least he has that drive, that emotion.
Yeah.
And that's what we need. So yeah, I was inspired by another podcast, a really popular one, you know, that's way above us. Distractible. This is kind of where I got the idea, because they talked about like pet peeves and shit, and like they had an episode called "How Dare You" and like all that shit. Well, I like their show for the most part. They do have way too many ads, I think, and that really takes me out of it. But you know, they're making money from it, so I mean, I understand. But
people talk about.
I like that they talk about just kind of basic concepts, like things that anger them, things that. Like, they did one episode, they were going to plan something else. And, you know, if something like this ever happens to one of us, we definitely got to do something like that. They did one called Bob's Fridge.
Oh, you told me about this one, yeah.
Where one of the hosts, Bob, and it's Markiplier, Wade, and Bob, the internet, you know, YouTuber guys, you know, especially Markiplier. Everyone knows Markiplier. But, and I think he's a genuinely good person, actually.
I don't know
out of all those YouTube guys.
I honestly don't know much about him.
Him and
I've just heard his name a lot.
Jacksepticeye, Sean, that's his real name. I think they're genuinely good people. But anyways, his friend Bob had this whole interaction with this crew that was supposed to install a new fridge in his house. They ended up busting his water line and all kinds of shit. And then the fridge was damaged by the time they get it in. They damaged his gate. Like, all this shit happened to him. And that's the kind of energy we need. And we're not getting sponsored anything, but if you check out any other podcast, check out Bob's Fridge from Distractible. It's glorious, because that man, when he gets angry, it's the funniest shit. It really is. So
also, I'm going to throw this out here before we get into it. We're going to try our best not to get political here.
No
guarantees. We won't make a few statements here and there if we get enraged, but this is about petty shit.
This is about anything that would piss anybody off.
Yeah, this is about,
and it's not always petty though, because there's some things that are just demonstrable.
This is about just everyday shit that just really as Peter Griffin would say, grinds our gears.
Yeah, definitely.
And then. And speaking of grinding our gears, what are you drinking?
What grinds our gears more than getting drunk on plantation rum?
That was a terrible segue.
It doesn't really well, it can make me grind my gears if I get too drunk, you know. But yeah, I got the plantation pineapple rum.
Nice.
One of the best. It really
we
is.
Have plantation in here in
especially
a while.
for the $30 price range. You can't go wrong.
We love plantation rum here at the Outdrink
I've been
Podcast.
making. Oh yeah, we definitely do. And I've been making pina coladas. I just got this cheap pina colada mix, but coupled with this pineapple rum. Oh,
That'd
it's
be perfect.
Perfect. It's amazing. And dangerous.
Yeah, and this pineapple rum, it's not like if you go buy the flavored Bacardi.
No,
where it's like the flavored Bacardi's like 20%.
No, and it's not like super sweet pineapple.
This is like proper like rum
that's made from
has pineapple in it.
Yeah. Pineapple infusion.
And I see you got a delicious beer there too.
I do. We've had it before. It's that time of year again. The Oktoberfest from Scott Brewing.
Oh yeah,
that was one of the first beers we talked about on the show.
And this is
that time of year again.
It's a really good beer. It's Scott Brewing is a good brewery, and this is one of their better beers. Speaking of Oktoberfest, only a couple weeks until Spooktober.
Spooktober. I wish we had a soundboard.
And just like last year, there's gonna be 5 episodes in that month.
Yes, I know. It's going to be a big one.
So, gotta have some good spooky episodes.
You know, I'm pretty sure I can get a soundboard on my laptop and hook it up to your mixer. I might think about trying to do that.
Yeah.
Because that'd be really cool.
I'm sure we could do that. Yeah.
Probably make it more entertaining for you. But you were drinking something special.
I'm drinking Angry Orchard Hard Cider. This is the crisp apple flavor. When I was at the liquor store today, I didn't feel like drinking beer today, so I got some cider because cider is good. I almost got a seltzer, but I decided cider's better.
You know what? You're right. Cider, in my opinion, if you want to get anything that's on the sweet side, don't. I know Hard Mike's, that's popular with the college party crowd and all that. And, like
I drink
Smirnoff.
I drink Mike's occasionally.
They're like pre-mixed things, the screwdrivers and the red, white, and blue thing.
But cider is good. And
I can appreciate it more.
It's sweet. So this is a good one, the crisp apple one, because I like ciders that are less on the sweet side.
Well, it's very distinctly apple.
Yeah.
But it's not as artificial tasting.
Ace.
I really like the pear ones.
Oh, yeah.
Any pear cider is great.
Ace cider is a really good cider brand.
Yeah, they do pumpkin.
They
apple
do a pumpkin.
Cider.
They do a pineapple cider, which is really good. And I think they also have a pear cider.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah, everyone has a pear cider. I don't like pears in real life all that much.
Yeah,
but
they taste like sand.
They do. Yeah,
and there's always that weird
stickers on them.
That's a slight callback to our Always Sunny episode
last week, yeah,
which you should definitely check out because we had a lot of fun with that, and that's something we like.
Yeah,
right.
The best episodes are ones that we just enjoy making.
Well, you could argue that the best ones are the ones that we absolutely hate making.
That is true. Like the Hellboy episode.
Yeah,
our second episode was Hellboy, and I
hated it.
We just hated it, and Jackson got very angry during the episode just from the thought of talking about the Hellboy movie.
Yeah. I can't think of another one that made me that angry. And we're 61 episodes in, so... Yeah. But this one will probably come up to that, hopefully. Well, not that I enjoy being mad at things, but we're about to be mad at a lot of things. So
I don't enjoy being mad. I enjoy bitching about stuff, though.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to do. So strap in.
I just took another shot of plantation, and it went down the wrong pipe.
Ooh.
I'll tell you that.
I did that with some whiskey
a
couple weeks ago. It went up my nose.
Yeah, at our band practice.
It went up into my sinuses. It was terrible. It took me an hour to recover.
Yeah, it did. You were dying over there and trying to play drums. Colton plays drums, people.
I try.
He tries.
I try to play drums.
We all try, don't we? We all try. We all try to play drums. But okay, so do you want me to start this off?
You go ahead and start.
I've got a pretty should I start on a big one, or should I build up?
That's up to you. I think you should start. I think you getting started will get.
Here's a little one. Here's a little pet peeve. It's not the end of the world. I get minorly annoyed. We'll start there. Well, I get angry, but we'll start there. So okay, and you know this. For sure. So when you go to our apartment specifically, okay, you could illegally turn right into the complex before the actual turn onto the next street. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about? By my complex. And a lot of people do that, and that pisses me off, but that's a separate thing. Well, anyways, today, I put on my turn signal like a reasonable person, but this person was tailgating me all the way down the hill. From the college, because we also do that. We're not just doing this, but so they're tailgating me pretty close. They're not super close the whole time, but they inch up closer, and I'm minorly annoyed. But here's what really pissed me off. So put on my turn signal. I turn right. Well, you go down a little bit further to actually turn right into the complex.
Yeah.
Well, I put on my turn signal again because it went off when I turned right. I pretty much immediately put it on again to turn right into the complex.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this asshole was absolutely tailgating me at this point, and I have a low riding vehicle now, and there's a slight slope to get into the parking lot. But this asshole was on my ass. I know I'm saying ass a lot, but they were right on me, and they forced me to turn quickly instead of slowly and methodically like I do, because I don't want to grind up my underside.
See, I feel
You don't have that issue.
I don't have that issue. My car is a little higher off the ground.
Yeah,
than
you have
yours
an
is.
SUV.
Also,
I used to have an SUV.
you know what I have to say about this, and here's a fun game, because this just reminds me of a fun game. You can all try this. So, part of what you're describing sounds to me like this mentality that people have where they don't want to where they subconsciously don't want to inconvenience people. Because I'll tell you what I would have done in that situation. I would have
Gone as slow as
taken
normal.
as long as I felt like I needed to, and made that person come to a complete stop.
I usually like trying to do that, but they did not give me enough space. I felt like if I
Yeah.
did that, they would have rear-ended me.
But it's
And
kind
while it
of
would have been their
it's
fault,
kind of like a pet peeve I have, which I'll tell. I mentioned a game, and this is my response to this pet peeve. It's my way of being petty. So it really annoys me when people hold doors open for me when I'm far away from the
just
door.
far away. Not obviously they won't hold it open for you when you're like 10
Yeah.
yards.
And so you feel like you have to
Rush.
to the door to be polite. I hate that. I hate that when I'm like freaking 15 feet away from the door and they hold the door open for me. So here's the game.
You do it to them.
Yeah, it's called the passive aggressive door holding game. And it's to purposefully hold the door open for people who are just far enough away from the door where they feel like they have to rush to be polite.
Well, you can do that.
So I purposely, that's an example
but
of
you know
something
what?
that annoys
You know what
me.
you can do to retroactively get back at them?
What?
Make it awkward.
Oh, yeah.
Don't rush.
I do that.
Take your time.
I do that most of the time. I have
And then at that
started-
point, they
Yeah.
have to choose: do I keep holding the door for this person, or do I go on?
Exactly.
But if I go on, I might seem like an asshole because I
Yeah.
already held it open for him in the first place.
But yeah, I will take my sweet ass time, unless it's someone I know and I actually do want to be polite to them. But I'll take my sweet ass time, and then I'm super petty. So
Yeah.
I purposefully do it to other people, and I find it very fun. It's hilarious.
It is fun.
Go home and
Something I like
next
to
time you're out in public, if you're listening,
I like to
try
do a
that.
little fake out. Okay. So I'll hold it like on the campus. I'll hold it open. We have the automatic doors for handicapped people,
Mhm.
and hold it open when they're just far enough away. But then
And then you close, and
No,
then
no,
you
no.
let go.
You don't let go. Well, you let go, but you press the button.
Oh,
But
I see.
there's a
So there's a
delay.
button, so it
So
opens
by
for
the
them.
time they get there, it'll be closed, and then they'll grab it. But then it will start opening anyways because you press a button. That's really hard to get exactly. The
I've had a
precise.
lot of times. I mean, I was always taught that holding a door open for someone is polite, but at the same time, I've had times where I'm, walking. There's a glass door, and I open it, and I could see there's someone like 10 feet behind me,
Yeah,
and I don't hold it open for them.
but because they're too far.
Because they're just far enough away where I don't feel like I have to. But then there's still this like thing in the back of my mind that said maybe I that was kind of a dick thing of me because they were close enough.
No,
where I could have
but-
opened it, and I hate.
There's a fine line.
that our society is like. You need to open doors for people.
Well,
because that's why that little voice in the back of my head says that.
but at the same time, if you hold it open when they're 10, 15 feet away,
Then you can have fun and you can play that little.
well,
game.
yeah, you can have fun, but then you also feel like an a-hole because you're
I feel like
subtly making them rush, right? Because they're like, oh, he's holding the door open for me, so I,
I
better.
feel like when I'm unintentionally an asshole,
That's even worse.
that's even or it weighs on my conscience more than when
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
intentionally
definitely,
an ass. When I'm intentionally an ass,
You want that.
at least on minor levels, of course, I don't take it too far. I try not to be an ass to people.
No.
But like intentionally holding the door open for them to make them feel like they have to rush, that's fun. But failing to open the door for them at all just because I'm in a rush just like makes me feel worse about it. And it bothers me that I feel bad about that shit.
But here's the thing. If you're the one opening the door, you have all the power.
That's true.
It's a lot harder to play that game if you're the one behind them.
It is a power play.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can manipulate it where they end up being, the loser. Yeah. Holding, it's like, hold the door open for me. I'm not going to rush, though. I'm going to take my time.
Every once in a while, I do find myself in a situation where I do the passive-aggressive door holding game, and then someone else, they know the tricks. So they don't rush.
Every once in a while.
So they don't rush. They take their sweet-ass time, and then it's like this weird stalemate where they pass by into the doorway, and you both glance at each other out of the corner of your eyes. But like you both know.
You know when someone is new to your place, whether it's your job, school, if someone's a freshman, if someone's new to your job, if someone, anything. And if you have good enough intuition, you can really mess with those people because they're not going to, even if they know the game, they're not going to play the game.
Yeah.
Because they're new, they're nervous.
And to be totally honest, I totally take advantage of that shit on campus and stuff. But when at the coffee shop on campus, when a freshman walks up, beginning of the semester, freshman, and they're always like, they take a moment to like, because it's like the first day, so they're where the line is and stuff. And I know they were there first, but I take advantage of them hesitating. And I jump in line ahead of them. Yeah. Because I'm an ass.
Here's another little one of mine. And this one it's not that bad. Like honestly, it just annoys me a little bit. So like when you go to a coffee shop, and you order a drink and maybe you're new there or you're not a regular so they don't know you. But they're like, "Okay, what's your name?" Oh. And then they spell your name in the dumbest way possible.
Well, see, like, I have a name where Colton, there are different ways to spell that are common enough where people don't know how to spell it all the time, and it's reasonable. But your name, though,
my name
is one where I'd be like, what? How?
Well, okay, here's the common thing. They'll spell it Jaxon, which is the douchiest way to spell my name.
Yeah.
And they'll do that, or they'll just outright ask me how to spell it. I don't know if it's because, does he spell it the normal way or the douchey way? Or do they not know?
Or they're just being careful.
But I had a guy at
Nobody ever asked me how to spell my name. They just assume.
I had a guy yesterday. No, not yesterday. Wasn't Friday. Friday at the Rocket. It's like a shitty fast food joint at our college. I think they've actually improved because they've decreased their menu, so they're more, focused.
I just go to the chicken tenders.
Yeah, you always go to chicken tenders.
I don't order anything else.
Don't go for anything else because you don't want their beef patties. You don't want their quote unquote salad.
But the chicken tenders are not bad.
No, they're reliable.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, I did order the chicken fingers, and then the guy had the audacity. Well, he seemed like he was new, but he asked me, "What's your name?" And I said, "Oh, Jackson." And he said, "How do you spell that?" And
he's never asked me. It's always the same guy, and he's never asked me how to spell.
I had a new guy. I know who you're talking about. That bald guy.
Yeah,
he's the regular. Yeah, but I had like a new guy there. He had like slightly pedo mustache. And glasses. But he asked me how to spell my name, and I was like, "Oh, it's like it sounds." And he was like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, Jackson. And he finally got it, but it was just an annoying interchange. But that's just a little minor thing.
I get people, the most common ones I get are so my name is spelled Colton.
Yeah, your name is super simple.
I get Colten, which I get.
I get it, but
it's wrong. I've never met someone who spells their name that way.
Colton.
But if you don't know someone named Colton, you might get it
It's
wrong.
Colton.
Yeah.
It's Colton,
But
not Colton.
I do slur my words sometimes and shit like that.
Right, yeah.
So I get it. I also get people who mishear me and they will spell it Holton.
Who is named Holton?
So
You know what?
I was friends with a guy in high school named Holton.
Of course you were, because you live in California.
Yeah.
Okay? The home of weird
Well, he is
names.
actually the brother of one of the friends I went to high school with, and then I became friends with him outside of school. But yeah,
Either way, you lived in California,
Holton.
where weird names are born.
I've had it spelled with a K, Kolton.
The Mortal Kombat way.
Yes, the Mortal Kombat way.
Like spelling Caleb
I've
with a
met
K.
people named Colton who spell it that way.
That's so...
I tell them they're wrong.
That's just their parents trying to be slightly different.
Yeah.
You know? I'm sorry.
It's
Hey,
not to the point where sometimes I tell people at Starbucks my name is just Cole because they're less likely to fuck that up.
if there's anyone named...
And then even when I say Cole,
what was the one? Holton?
Holton.
If there's anyone named Holton, or Colton with a K, or Jackson with an X, we don't hate you. In fact...
But you're spelling your names wrong.
Yeah, you're totally spelling... Your parents spelled your name wrong, so you need to talk to them.
I've also just had a common thing, and this is I don't know if you've ever had this, where you meet a new person, like a new coworker or something like that, and you tell them your name, and then they completely get your name wrong.
Yeah.
And then it's like a week later that you correct them. Because
Yeah.
you realize that. So,
Because it's awkward at first.
yeah, I've gotten like Colin is probably the most common one I get.
Colin.
People think I'm named Colin.
What a nerd.
Yeah.
I believe there's a character in what we do in the shadows named Colin.
Is there? I don't
He's
know.
like an energy vampire. He
yeah.
he drains your
He's the
energy
bald
by
guy.
like boring you.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he I love that show. I'd love to talk about it in some capacity. But speaking on names, you know what? I don't care. I know I've said it before. Do not bleep this out. Because what are people gonna do? They're gonna track me down and kill me in my sleep. Hopefully not. But my last name, it's not common at all, but it is not hard to pronounce.
Yeah, I've never met someone else with your last name.
There's a few of us, a lot of us on the East Coast.
Other than your parents.
And there's a professor in Alaska with the same last name. I'm not related to him. He's like a professor in geology.
But no, your name's not hard to pronounce.
It's Ohler. Ohler.
How do people pronounce it?
Come for me. I don't care. But I get such weird pronunciations
Yeah.
for my last name. So the common one, and my dad will agree because he's gotten this his whole life too. The common one is Euler. What in there is oi?
Oi.
Oi. Yeah. I mean, there's no I, there's no Y. It's OH, which is when you're speaking, you say, oh.
Yeah.
Hello. You know,
it makes sense. It's an explanation.
Oh. But I'll get Euler. One time I even got, I guess they misheard me because it wasn't allowed middle school cafeteria. But the lunch lady said Oifer.
Oh.
And then that one's super rare. I get that once every 5 years, maybe. But another common one is Aller.
That one's not.
It makes more sense
That's a
than
little more
Euler.
understandable. It's still stupid, but a little more understandable.
But I'm really surprised that I had a brand new professor this semester, and she is well, I won't go into too much details, but she pronounced my name correctly the first time.
Oh, very good.
Euler. And I'm like, thank you, because it is not hard. You just literally say
it's not
what
hard.
the word says.
Yeah.
It's 2 syllables. Oh, and lur. So yeah,
I've never had people pronounce my last name because it's a pretty easy.
your name's also real easy. If anyone got your name wrong,
Crawford. It's a very anglicized, easy name to pronounce.
okay, I know we've probably said it before without bleeping it, but those are our last names.
Yeah.
Who cares?
There's a banjo player for the band The Dead South.
Mm-hmm.
Their banjo player's named Colton Crawford.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It's my favorite fact about my name.
Yeah. So yeah, that's another annoying thing. And I know that happens to everybody. Everyone's getting their names mispronounced, misspelled.
Some people more than others, but
so I don't want to get to my really big one just yet, but I could talk about it for 30 minutes if I got to now. But I won't quite yet.
Okay.
So you have the common ones, like when someone cuts you off, when someone doesn't use their turn signal. Like, there's a lot that happens when you're driving.
When people don't use their fucking turn signals in roundabouts.
Oh.
You're supposed to use your turn signal. No one does it around here.
Or
it drives me crazy.
You know what happens
it's
a lot
stupid.
here?
It shouldn't drive me crazy because it's not a big deal, but it drives me crazy.
Speaking of roundabouts, you know what happens here a lot? And I know you've had this happen to you.
What?
The person in front of you in the roundabout, you're going round the bout.
Mm-hmm.
And they slow down to a stop to let the other guy in. No, that's not how it works.
No.
You yield.
If you're in the roundabout, you have
you
the
keep
right
going.
Away. Yeah.
Unless you see some asshole trying to come in, then okay, then you slow down or stop because you have to. But in any normal situation, you keep going around until you get to the spot that you turn. Okay? It's not hard. There's so many people that do not understand the concept of roundabouts. Because some towns don't have that many.
Sometimes, I mean, I grew up in Southern California, and they're not common down there.
No, they're not common from where I'm from either. But
I know people that I've driven with who struggle in roundabouts.
And also, shout out to our UK listeners.
They have the craziest fucking roundabouts over there.
Across the pond.
Yeah.
For one, thank you for listening to us.
I've never been to England or Britain in general, but
plan on it.
I've seen pictures of some of the roundabouts there.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't understand it. It is baffling to me. Props to you guys over there for even understanding what the fuck is going on those roads.
And, props to you guys. Bloody mates, or what do you guys say? You're gonna hate us now.
Oh,
but props to you, and props to all of our international listeners.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
We don't get most of our audience tends to be in the United States, but we do get international listeners here and there. And we appreciate you guys. We see you. We see you on our stats, and we
do.
We don't ignore you.
It's cool that people can listen to this madness, all over the world because, that's good. No, seriously though, it's cool. We appreciate every listener.
Get your daily dose of American culture in there.
Yeah.
It is just as stupid as Family Guy makes it out to be.
Yeah. Well, maybe not quite as bad as Family Guy. The writing for that show has really gone downhill.
Okay, it's just as bad as The Simpsons makes it out to be.
Which is fair. That's very fair.
Honestly, actually, I think
Simpsons is probably the best American cartoon.
Very slight side tangent, but if you want a good representation of American culture, not stuff that America borrowed from other places, but like real American culture, watch The Simpsons,
which is essentially borrowed from other places. But,
yeah, but America has developed its own culture, and it does have its own culture. And The Simpsons is a because the best way to learn about other cultures and get a representation of other cultures is to watch comedy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because comedy is typically satirical, and The Simpsons has covered like most American topics in American culture. Like, The Simpsons is actually a good representation of our culture.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that. It's a little embarrassing, but yeah.
So I don't know how to really connect that with anything. But so I'm not going to say where.
Okay.
But I work in retail, as you know. As you know.
Yes.
And I have to deal with just the worst human beings ever. I mean, there's times where I'm just like, I hate humanity. But then I'm like, I don't really hate all people.
I've never worked in retail, but I've worked food service and customer service.
So you've dealt
for years
with these kind of people.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I'll get an aisle perfectly organized, looking great, turn my back, ruined because they're trying to find a Hot Wheel or whatever. And then what makes me more mad than anything...
Sorry, that was me.
Yeah. But what makes me more mad than anything, though, well, there's two things. When grown-ass adults come in and make a mess, or parents come in, and whether they're with their kid or not, sometimes it doesn't even matter if they're with them, but they just let their kid just do anything, destroy everything, ruin everything, scream, cry.
You're just like,
but I'm not a monster. I don't get mad at the kids, especially when they're alone. I'm like, it's stupid that your parents left you here because, you know, you could get kidnapped.
You know, kids are kids.
You could get taken into a van, but that's besides the point. Kids are kids, you know. I expect that from kids.
Kids are chaotic.
Especially like 9, 10 and under. I'm not going to say anything really. I mean, I'll just deal with it after, you know, the aftermath. But, you know, when parents willingly let their kids make a mess and don't teach them any discipline or respect, that really irks me. But even here's number 3. When some little tweens or teenagers come in, or hell, even like college freshmen, when they come in and think they can make an ass out of themselves, and boy, oh boy, I let the kids go, and if they have their parents with them, I usually don't say anything because I don't want to get in a fight with parents. But if some teenage jack-off comes in and thinks they can do whatever they want and throw balls around, play with toy swords or whatever. I work in the toys thing. That's all I'm going to say. But and this also happens, like, you know, in other departments. But when they think they can come in, give me attitude and all this, I'm like, oh no, man. Like, stop. Get out of here. Like, I do not play with them.
I honestly, this is going to sound bad.
And also, wait, one more thing.
Okay.
This is really going to sound bad for me. When some, like, preteen, like, Fortnite kid or TikTok kid comes in and they act like they're tough, right? I would absolutely destroy you.
Yeah.
If you did anything to me. And not saying I would do that. I would probably just, you know, okay, let's just say if like a preteen or like young teenager was trying to fight me or something, especially at work, I wouldn't do anything. I would probably just be like, you know, fuck off.
Yeah, you know better than
but like, in any other situation, I would absolutely wreck you.
You're like, not only are you a fully grown adult,
and I'm not saying I'm good at fighting or like I like fighting or, you know, any of that. But, you know, it's funny because me and my girlfriend, because it's spooky season basically, we watched the Rob Zombie Halloween. And they show a lot of his backstory, and that movie's not good. Okay, it's got good kills in it. I like Tyler Mane as Michael. He's big, but I also don't like him for that reason because Michael's supposed to be more inconspicuous, even though he's got the mask. But you know what I mean. Well, either way, there's a lot of... In the beginning of that movie, he legitimately kills another kid that's way old, like twice his age. He's like 8 or 9. This kid is like 14.
Yeah.
So not exactly twice, but much older. If a 9-year-old tried to kill me with a baseball bat when I was 14, I would have wrecked his shit. Okay. I do not care how, if he's a sociopath or whatever. Like when I was watching that movie, I was like, I would absolutely wreck Michael Myers if he was a 9-year-old little punk trying to mess with my shit. Like, and
so you talk about kids like messing with your shit at work, and this sounds bad, but when I'm at work, I have no problem yelling at kids about shit.
It depends on their age. It depends if their parents are, but if it's like, if you're under 10 or under 8, I'm not going to say anything. I'll just observe and pick up after.
Yeah, of course. I try not to be an ass. I try not to be mean to the kids.
But no, if it's the age range of like 10 to 14, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. I work at an ice skating rink. And so we do, sometimes we do public skate times.
Yeah.
And when we do that, we have rules about shenanigans on the ice, basically, messing around, playing. We have these little things that little kids can push around on the ice to help themselves balance. We try not to let older people use them because it's just a recipe for bumper carts.
Oh yeah.
Is the most common use. So that and kids, typically tweens and teenagers. Messing around on the ice. And some of the other employees will, when they'll see kids misbehaving on the ice, they will immediately, without trying to stop them themselves, they'll just grab me and be like, Colton, you go deal with that. Because I will, in my shoes, walk out into the center of the ice with everyone skating and point and drag them down like to the side of the rink and like point at them and be like, you come here. And it's always the same reaction. They're messing around and they see the employee, the manager on duty, walk out into the center of the rink and point right at them with the angry face, and they always like kind of have this look of like, oh shit,
there's another shot down. I'll leave it alone. But yeah.
I'm never mean to them when I pull them aside. I'd give them the warning and say, hey, you guys got to knock it off. All that sort of stuff. I'm never mean to them, but I have no problem putting on the stern, like, you get the fuck over here.
Well, let's say a kid's like throwing balls around, and maybe they're not. I can tell if it's like, if there's like malice to it, because some people just come around to actually intentionally wreck shit. Mm-hmm. But then there's kids that are just playing around being kids, but it's getting to the point where I'm like, okay, it's knocking stuff down. It could hit somebody, whatever.
Yeah.
My first time, actually, before I even say anything, I'll just walk over there. Mm-hmm. And most of the time, just
just your presence,
especially with the mask on, because we have to wear masks again, so you just see the eyes.
Oh, I like masks.
No, yeah,
a lot of people don't have to do
fake smiles anymore.
Yeah, people who do customer service I've talked to, like, some people don't like it because you can't see.
Oh, I don't care.
You can't read their facial emotions, so people think you're being an ass.
But they can't read your emotions.
Yeah, well, like, some people don't like it for that reason, because some people do customer service will be like, oh, they think I'm an asshole because they can't read my facial emotions or anything like that.
But you don't have to fake it.
I'm like, it helps me intimidate people into behaving.
But yeah, a lot of times I'll just walk over there and they'll stop. That's actually what happens most of the time. But then the older they are, the smarter they're going to be. Well,
yeah.
Not actually intelligent, but like smart ass. And, they'll be like, oh, I didn't know, or I was just playing with my friend, just giving me excuses. And I'm just like, just don't.
Yeah, that's
basically.
That's always when I catch a kid like misbehaving at my rink.
But every once in a while,
they'll make an excuse, and I'll let them make their excuse, and then I'll just be like, I don't care.
I don't care.
Just knock it off. Like,
no, one time
you don't have to explain yourself to me.
I had
just knock it
this
off.
kid. He was probably like 14 or 15, I told him and his friends to stop playing with the swords with the Halloween stuff because they're really fragile, cheap, plastic.
Yeah, they can be broken.
Fake swords, and they're easy to break. And they were like, well, first they had the audacity, and we're going to get off this topic pretty soon, but they had the audacity to ask me if I wanted to play with them. And I said,
I mean, did you secretly want to?
I would. No, honestly, I didn't. I was like, I'm here to work. I'm here to just get out of here and not get fired. But they were like, do you want to play with us? And I was like, no thanks, I'm good. And they're like, aw, and being assholes about it. And 2 seconds passed and they kept doing it because I thought they would have stopped at that point, since I was there. Mm-hmm. They didn't care. And I was just like, this is one of the ones where I didn't have anything really specific to say or hey, you can't do that or what. I just said, that's enough. And this was recent. This was a few days ago. And I was like, that's enough. And they were like, what do you mean? And I was like, that's enough. And then I did eventually say, they're going to break if you keep doing that. And they were like, oh, we weren't trying to break it. And I was like, I don't care if you were trying to break it.
Doesn't matter if you're trying to break it. Your parents are going to have to pay for it.
Yeah.
If you do break it, and then...
Actually, you're old enough. You pay for it, jackass. Yeah. But anyways, yeah. I deal with that kind of stuff all the time. And by the end of work,
I worked at
I'm driven insane.
A Mexican restaurant a few years ago at this point. And we had some of the stupidest customers.
Have any Karens?
Yeah, we did have Karens. We had this one lady who she tried this several times. And eventually, actually, after I quit, I heard that she got banned. Where she would order a burrito to go. And so there's one specific situation that I was there for. And she's tried this several different times with different employees, where she ordered a burrito to go in the morning, and which I wasn't working that morning, so I didn't know that she had ordered the burrito. So she calls in the evening when I'm working, and she says, I ordered a burrito. I ordered this specific burrito. She names one off the menu, and you got one of the ingredients wrong, so I want you to fix it.
Wow.
And I was kind of like, it wasn't super busy that night, and I'm like, it was a breakfast burrito. I had not sold any breakfast burritos, so I was like, can I ask you when you ordered that? She's like, about 10 a.m. this morning. It was about 8 p.m.
Okay. If she okay, just keep going.
Yeah, and I was already kind of immediately like, okay, this is stupid.
You're just trying to get a
but
free
I'm
burrito.
not gonna. I can tell this is not worth arguing with her about. She's going to make a fuss.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, well, if you bring it in with your receipt, I can get you a new burrito. And she was like, I don't want a new burrito. I want a refund. And I was like, fine. If you bring in your receipt, I'll give you a refund.
Yeah.
Which that was already me kind of like, I'm already pissed off at her.
Right.
I'm already pushing it on what I'm allowed to do.
Yeah.
So she brings in her receipt, and she starts going off about how this has happened multiple times, and it's emotionally taxing on her, and she starts crying. At the counter in front of me, she starts tears out of her eyes. Breaking down in tears about how it's too much for her to deal with. And she thinks that we should give her more than just a refund. She demanded money from us. She walked in.
Wait, slow down. I'm not a psychiatrist or anything, But she's got some underlying issues if she's going to start crying about a burrito at a fast food Mexican restaurant.
Yeah, and she walked in, basically, her burrito was like $8. She walked in and demanded $20 from us, basically.
Where does that math come in?
Yeah, I'm like... I wanted to be like, lady, if you had a weapon on you, this would be armed robbery. You're walking in and demanding money from us. Like,
yeah.
Demanding money from the register. But I didn't say that. I was kind of just like, at this point, I didn't say anything back to her. I was just like, I'll be your back.
Okay.
And I went back. Manager was in the back. I was like, walked up to the bar manager. I was like, you deal with this lady. I am done with it. And the bar manager walked up and basically was like, pulled $10 out of the register and said,
"Oh, really?
Here, now get out."
But she's banned now.
Oh, well, they didn't ban her yet.
But now
she tried it again when Caleb was working there.
Oh, okay.
She tried it again, and they banned her.
Good.
Yeah.
I have a question. Do you recall what the missing ingredient was supposedly?
No, because it was stupid. I've had a lot of people call for missing ingredients. I had this one guy, and most of the time I'm like, okay, well, if you bring in the bad burrito in your receipt, we'll make you a new one. It's not a big deal. But I've had guys like this one guy called one time and he's like, I wanted it without pico de gallo, and you guys put pico de gallo in it, and I can't eat it because I'm allergic to whatever the fuck he said he was allergic to. And I was like, okay, sir, well, allergies that's a reasonable thing to want a new one.
That's reasonable.
I was like, well, if you bring it in and if you bring it back, we'll make you a new one. And then he goes, I can't bring it back. I'm at the airport.
Then what do you expect?
Exactly. Then I was like, then what do you want us to do?
Apologize?
And he didn't have a response to that. He was just like, I don't know.
He was just mad.
He was just mad. And I'm like, why are you calling us then
if
you know we can't do anything about it because you won't come back?
Here's my thing. I understand that everyone's, most people at least, we earn our money. And when we spend it, we want it to be spent well and reasonably and right. And we want to get our money's worth for things, for products. But when you go to a fast food joint with mostly college students or even younger than that, not always, but in the case of machos, but generally, and it's just a little bit wrong when you get your burrito or whatever, you're really gonna waste that much time of your life.
People act like they're personally offended, like we targeted them. I'm like
that, and also, I mean, it's just like
our
you
cooks
went
mess up sometimes.
Well, and also, you went to a fast food place. You know what you're getting.
Yeah.
Okay. If I let's say I order what's a good example? Let's say I order the California burrito, for instance, and maybe there's half the fries in there. Or hell, even no fries.
Yeah, they forget to put fries in.
I might be annoyed. I'll definitely be annoyed, but I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not that kind of person to waste my time trying to get my money back into a new one. I'm like, well, whatever.
If I don't catch the mistake while I'm there, I don't.
No, I'll be like, it's still good enough. It's going to fill me up. It's fast food.
The most annoying thing, and this happened at Macho's, this happened at the pizza place I worked at. If you've ever worked, I know you've worked food service before.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever experienced this, where this is the biggest pet peeve I've had with people, where they walk up and they say, "Can you can make me this?" Because one time this couple came up and they wanted. We did breakfast burritos, but they wanted breakfast tacos, so they wanted like tacos but with the eggs and stuff in it. It's not on our menu, and I was kind of like. That's not our. I was one of the employees that was.
If anything, that's a downgrade.
Yeah,
what's wrong with you?
I was one of those employees that was like, if it's not on a menu, no, I will not put it in as for an order for you. And all the time, people would be like, "Well, so and so would always do this for me."
I have one.
I would be like, "Then come back when they're working."
I have one. So this lady and her son, they were being fine. but they found this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles toy, and it was a pretty cool toy. It was like a motorcycle, Shredder, and Raphael, I believe. So yeah, it was cool. I get it. But she let her son. She opened it for her son.
Oh.
While I was right there, I saw it happen. I knew what was happening. I was like, maybe she won't do it, because I don't like confronting people all the time. But she opened it so he could try it out or whatever. And I was like, excuse me, you can't open the product before you purchase it. And she said, well, this one guy let me do it before they let me do it. I'm like, well, I'm not letting you do it. I'm not that guy. I never heard of this person. I've never known of any person that was allowed to let this happen. Because, unfortunately, ma'am, and I didn't say all this, but, I said a bit of it, we can't trust anybody. She's like, well, I'm going to talk to your manager. And I'm like, talk to them. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that was in the conversation. And one of our asset protection managers were tracking her down the whole time. And she did end up buying it. But it's just not, even if you are going to buy it, that is not common courtesy or respectful to damage a product. And also, I'll get it. I had this guy, he came up to me with this little Lego set. It was just the road plates, something really basic. It wasn't even like a expensive one or anything. He was like, the box is damaged. Do I get a discount? And I'm like, is all the product in there? And I checked and I was like, all the product's in there. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, is the product damaged?
Yeah.
And he was like, no, but the box is damaged. And I asked him another question. I was like, does it have all the information that you need to use this? And he was like, yeah, but it's the box. And I'm like, sorry, we don't give discounts for that. But just people just coming with me with this little petty shit. Like, shut up. Just stop.
Yeah.
And then obviously I get mad, but when people actually try to steal things, like this one group of people had a cart full of Legos, multiples of the same sets, like multiple Millennium Falcons, multiple Hogwarts, all that. And I was like, okay, that's sus. They had multiple pairs of the same jeans, multiple pairs of underwear, all this kind of stuff, which is obviously a red flag.
Yeah.
And they were trying to go in the fire exit. And I was there on their ass the whole time. So they ended up getting spooked and they left their cart. But it's just, for some reason, that doesn't make me as mad as someone that's trying to pull some petty, shit. Because at least they have the balls to actually steal something.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not saying stealing is better or anything, but
they try to pull petty.
It's not as personal and direct. It's like, people steal things.
So
I get it.
This couple came into the fast food place and they wanted those breakfast tacos.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not on the menu. I can't do that. And the chef was kind of by the window of where we put the orders in. So they went over to the window and asked him to make it for them.
Wow.
And he made it for them. I was kind of like, Jose, like, you don't got my back, man. And it pissed me off so much.
What? Okay.
I'm like, I said that they can't have that. And then they went behind my back to someone who's not even the manager, who's not in charge of me.
Yeah, that also pisses me off. Yeah. But let's go to a different thing.
Yeah.
Enough with the work stuff. Okay. This could apply to multiple scenarios, multiple different kinds of stores, but it's the worst when it's at restaurants. But either way, you got to go to the bathroom in a public restroom.
Yeah.
And I don't know about women's restrooms because I've never been in one because, I'm not a weirdo or pervert. I go to the men's restroom where I'm supposed to go. And we're not going to get into gender identities because, here at the All Joke Podcast, we don't give a shit. what your gender identity is. Just be a good, reasonable person.
Yeah, we support it. We support that.
Yes,
stuff,
we support it.
Our point is we identify as men, so we go to the men's restroom.
So anyways, you go to the bathroom. Let's say you just got to pee. Urinals are taken up. It's even worse if you do have to go, take a deuce. Way worse at that point. You got to go to the bathroom. And I'll get to the main point of what really compounds this. But, and exasperates it. I'm sorry. I've had a few shots.
Take your time.
But, okay. You're a person. You got to go to the restroom. Do a normal function of the body.
Restroom things at a toilet.
Public.
Yeah, in a public.
And it's even worse at like
I think people get the idea that we're using the restroom at this point.
Okay, it's even worse at like a beachside toilet or something like that. Not always.
We've taken a long time to explain.
Okay, here we are.
Restroom.
Here we are. You're in the restroom. You've entered the restroom. And there's another thing I would like to talk about that's related to public restrooms, but here, in fact, I'll talk about that one first. Because I don't want to get to the main, meat and potatoes of this yet. I don't know about the women's restroom, but when you're a guy and you have to just go pee, well, you go in, and an old man comes in to the urinal next to you or adjacent to you. It's usually the one right next to you. I don't know why. At least with me, my experiences, it's always the one directly next to you. And you're just trying to expose of your urine. Pee.
And they try talking to you?
Oh, God. I wasn't even going to talk about that point. You can talk about that because I've never had that happen to me.
I've had that where someone comes up to the urinal right next to me and tries talking to me.
Oh.
I had a professor do that.
Well, it's slightly different when it's someone you know or work with.
But it was weird because it was like
it's always weird.
I was in the bathroom and I was peeing, and my professor came in, went to the urinal right next to me, started peeing, and then started asking me about my classes.
Oh God!
And I was like, "This is not the time or place, man. Ask me in 5 minutes."
I don't want to talk to anyone when I'm doing anything in the bathroom, even when I'm washing my hands. I'm like, get away from me.
I was like, ask me. I see you in class. You can ask me after class. Do not ask me right here in the restroom.
Well, and,
What?
Okay. When you are urinating at a urinal.
Yeah.
And an old man with a baseball cap and pants that are way too tucked up high, Clint Eastwood style, comes next to you.
Yeah.
And, I understand.
Your typical grandpa figure.
I understand that when you get old, things don't work how they're supposed to anymore. But I'll get an old man that comes next to me when I'm just trying to peacefully relieve myself. And then they just start going. They just start grunting and hollering, and they're in pain.
That's not an issue I've encountered.
I've encountered that
times.
way too many times. Where I get an old man.
I can't say
I don't know if he's about
that.
I don't know if he's about to pass a kidney stone or something, which I never want to get. Which is why I drink plenty of lemonade and acidic, drinks because
my dad gets kidney stones.
Oh, those it sounds awful. My dad had one.
I remember one time he gets them like.
Is he drinking a lot of coffee or like?
I don't know. There was a period of time where
milk.
There was a period of time where he was getting like several a year
because it's like calcium deposits.
And he doesn't seem to get them as often anymore, but still does get them.
Jesus.
And I remember one time he was lying on the couch, heating pad, resting because of it, and I was watching TV, and he turns to me and looks at me and goes, "I hope this is genetic."
That's so your dad. Yeah, my dad had him once, and he was like, it was getting shot, but the bullet's traveling through your body extremely slowly, and it sucks.
Yeah, I've heard they suck. Yeah,
yeah, and women can get them too. But
yeah, it's just not as common.
But yeah, when you get this old man that's just being extremely aggressive or in pain while he's peeing, and I'm like, he's old, but why me? Why? Why do I have to be in this situation?
I mean, just in general, I dislike when people make bathroom into a social thing. So
yeah,
like I mentioned,
far too often.
I mentioned when someone stands at the urinal next to you and starts talking to you.
That's the worst.
That happens to me a little bit too often.
Yeah.
Which I'd like to think I'm not that approachable of a person. I don't know why people do it to me all the time, but I mean, but it's not just that. Like I was at a Walmart recently, and I had to use the restroom while my girlfriend was shopping. And I went in there, and there was like 5 old guys in there, just hanging out.
Yeah,
they were complimenting each other on. There was one guy that was in there as everyone would come in and out of the restroom. He would like find a piece of clothing that they're wearing and compliment them on it.
Yep.
And I was wearing like a Hawaiian t-shirt
so
that day,
weird.
and he's like, "That's a really cool shirt. Where'd you get that?" I'm like, "Here."
Once I've actually had a guy in the next stall next to me while I am taking a deuce actually try to have a conversation with me.
I've never had someone in a stall try to talk to me.
I've had it happen before.
That's a little weird.
It's like, it's a hot one today, isn't it? That's only happened once, and that was a few years ago.
Did you respond, or did you just ignore him?
No, I ignored him.
Because that would probably be my response.
I was really scared
to ignore him and hope he goes away.
I mean, that scene where we were talking about this earlier, and we'll definitely be talking about it for Spooktober. But the scene and there's another Halloween movie where this happens, but in the recent one where the British lady, the podcaster, is taking a deuce in the bathroom, and Michael walks up. It's like, for one, it's already, it's scary because a random person walked over to yourself, but you're taking a dump. It's your most vulnerable position.
Yeah.
It's so awkward.
I think of have you seen the movie The Nice Guys with Russell
Crowe?
There's a scene where Ryan Gosling.
It's Ryan Gosling.
He's on the toilet in a stall.
It's Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe walks in and like knocks on the stall and and he opens and Ryan Gosling opens it. And he has the newspaper over. He's like pulls out a gun. He's like, "Yeah, I've been carrying," but he's like struggling to get his pants up and stuff.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. And like in the Halloween movie, the lady's taking a dump and he walks in. He drops. Spoiler. He drops the teeth in from the guy he just killed, the mechanic he killed or whatever.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And it's a horrifying moment, but also I'm thinking at the same time, imagine that happening while you were trying to take a dump. And imagine and she has to crawl around on the floor, like in the nasty, bathroom floor. And like pulls her pants up, like right when she was in the middle of it. So it's like, that wasn't clean. And then getting killed right after you were trying to drop a deuce in one of your most intimate moments.
I have at times where I've been sitting in a stall and someone tries to open the stall.
I have had that happen so much,
and that's always a situation where you're kind of just sitting there and you're like kind of like you freeze for a moment and you're like,
Well, this one guy, he obviously had to really go or something because it was a crowded bathroom, but he jiggled my stall door while I was in the middle of it. And he was like, "Is there anyone in here?" And I'm like, "It's locked, asshole." Like, what do you think?
Well, the ice rink I work at, I get these, I assume it's just asshole kids who do this. They will lock the stall doors and then like crawl out from underneath, and
and that's just gross.
I hate that. Luckily, I know how to open the stall doors at that rink from the outside.
Good.
But it's always really
but that's
annoying
a rare case
when I go in at the. I almost never have to do it. But it's very annoying when I'm cleaning at the end of the night, and I lock all the doors and I go to clean the restrooms, and I go in and the stalls are all locked, and I'm like, God, fucking Christ! Like,
I got a story I'm gonna tell you that I've never told anybody.
Okay,
it's a bathroom story, and then we'll get to my final bathroom thing. So I was doing my business. I was on my phone. I'm not gonna lie. I was wasting a little bit of time looking on Amazon or whatever. But I was genuinely doing my thing that we all do. But,
No,
here's a preface.
I tend to take longer than I need to.
My pants were all the way up. You couldn't see anything. Just to preface this. Well, anyways, I hear a couple of kids come in. Like, their dad's like, okay, hurry. We're getting into more like awkward cringe territory. I want to get the angry territory again.
Yeah.
Okay. So this kid, without any warning, and I could have had, my stuff out. Luckily, I didn't.
Luckily you were covered.
Yeah, but sometimes I'm not because I'm like, I want the air. I don't know. Because it's the freaking bathroom and you should be left alone. Okay? Anyways, this freaking kid, probably 5 or 6 years old, he sticks his head under my stall, crawling on the ground, looks right at me. I look right at him, and I'm just like, no. I don't say anything else. I just say, no. And this kid looks me dead in the eyes. And you know what? I admire the audacity on that kid because I was in there taking a mean freaking dump. Like the kind with the peanut butter consistency.
Oh,
yeah, I know.
You don't have to describe that.
It was really bad and it really stunk and it was really gross. I was sweating all day. You know when you get swamp ass, right?
Yeah, during the summer.
That's what was happening to me.
Lot.
And then this kid stared right at me. I stared at him and I just said, no. And then he went away. And
you were like, I am so glad I was covered up for that.
I was so glad I was covered up.
That would be a nightmare.
I was so glad I wasn't in the process of like wiping at the moment. And you know what? I didn't know there was going to be that much bathroom talk in this one, but
it's what happens.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. That was extremely weird and pissed me off, but mostly weird because I did not know how to react to that. Anyways, getting to my final bathroom talk, maybe we can get to a couple more things. Yeah, we're doing good. Here's what really pisses me off. And it pisses me off more depending on the context, place, situation.
Yeah.
When you go to the bathroom, a public bathroom. Let's just start like at a grocery store.
Set the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You go to bathroom and let's say all you have to do is just pee. This is when you're lucky, but the urinals are taken, but the stall's open. Okay, you go in the stall. And then you go in. And it's completely and utterly destroyed. And I don't mean, there's no, there's shit and there's piss and there's toilet paper absolutely everywhere.
Yeah.
Like you don't even want to pee in that toilet. But even worse, if you actually have to do number 2 and you go in and it's absolutely destroyed. And what I don't understand, and I know you've encountered this.
Yeah.
And I'm sure women encounter this. Everyone's encountered this. You have people, okay, obviously you have the like sadists out there that are like, I'm gonna destroy this bathroom. But I don't think most people are like that.
No.
It makes me question whether people actually know how to use the restroom or not, if they were taught how to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
Because when you go in, there's shit all over the toilet seat. There's a pile of shit in there. There's piss.
It's a common enough occurrence to have like really messy bathrooms. And like if you ever work a job where you have to clean restrooms, you especially know this.
Those guys are heroes.
I've worked as a custodian before.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And you get to it's such a common occurrence where you do question that exactly. You're like, it can't be so common that people purposely do this.
No.
Like that can't be a thing. People just must not know how to clean up after themselves.
How to clean up? Like, imagine what their bathroom looks like.
Like I've
Or is it just because they don't care because it's a public restroom? But
Yeah.
either way,
I mean
the lack
I
of
mean,
respect and like
I mean, there's been times where I've gone into where I've gone to clean a restroom at work, and not even just the toilet, but like there's just crumpled up paper towels just everywhere, and the trash can is not full, and it just makes me go like, do these people just like dry their hands and throw the paper towel on the ground?
just not care.
Because it's not like next to the trash can where they missed. It's like all over the restroom, and I'm like, do people just not?
Well, I
care?
expect that at public restrooms, and I expect this shit now too. But like when you go into a stall and it's just absolutely ruined.
Yeah, it does make you think. It happens enough where it makes you go like, do some people just not know how to be clean in a restroom?
And even worse is when, let's say you're at like a this usually occurs at like more corporate restaurants. Let's set the scene again. Let's say you're at an Olive Garden.
Olive Garden, yum.
Yeah, right?
Unlimited soup and salad and breadsticks.
Honestly, I mean,
Awesome.
if you go into the mindset that it's a fast food Italian restaurant,
I wouldn't say I wouldn't say I like Olive Garden, but I don't hate it either.
no, but
It's not
don't go in expecting real Italian food.
Yeah.
Go in expecting fast American,
Yeah.
quote unquote, Italian food. It can be a fun time if you go in with the right mindset.
I don't dislike all corporate restaurants.
No, I'm not gonna. I know what they're there for. You know,
They serve their purpose.
exactly.
When it comes to dining out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheap. You know,
I eat at
good for the family.
I eat at Applebee's every once in a while, and I don't like Applebee's.
But I'm not gonna be a dick about it.
I don't have a bad
if
time
I'm-
when I go there.
I never
because-
go to Applebee's unwillingly.
Because I don't have a bad time when I go there because my expectations are not too high.
But you know it's cheap. You know what you're getting. You know, either way.
They have a really good happy hour,
No, I mean,
like $2 Long
there's good
Island
things.
iced teas.
Yeah,
and shit.
I mean. Anyways, you go to, let's say, like an Olive Garden or an your local Applebee's. You go in. You have some appetizers. You have some drinks. You have to use the restroom.
Mm-hmm.
Go in. And maybe this is even before your entree, but either way, it's in the place where you eat. You go in a restroom. It already smells horrible. Like piles of ass on top of piles of ass.
Restaurant
And
bathrooms
shit.
are always smell the worst.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
But you go in. There's one guy's already in the stall shitting his brains out. Okay? And
because
so-
remember, it's Applebee's.
It's
so that's what
Applebee's.
happens when you eat it.
So that's already happening. So that's already a huge turn off to your appetite. But then you go into the stall next to him and you realize another guy just did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's ruined and there's diarrhea or shit and piss or even
I don't understand.
and
this you experience this just using public restrooms,
all the time.
but especially from doing custodial work like I've done, people don't flush the damn toilet.
Well, and sometimes the toilet is clogged.
Not even like that.
But a lot of times,
not even always like sometimes just like piss. People don't flush the damn toilet, and I don't understand it.
And even worse is like when you when you're pissing in your urinal and the guy's shitting his brains out and then he comes out and then he doesn't wash his hands.
Yeah.
That angers me, but it also just makes me question humanity.
It's like okay, if you don't want to wash your hands,
It's like no wonder why all this shit is
if you don't
spread.
care about your hands being dirty, that's one thing, but you got to at least do it out of the common courtesy of people who are watching.
Yeah.
Like
but
at the very least.
But yeah, you go in and the bathroom's absolutely annihilated. But that's the only choice you have. And maybe you just have to pee. Maybe you're lucky. You just have to pee. You don't have to sit. You don't have to try to clean it yourself, which sometimes it won't be a horrible situation, but the only toilet that's left is the one that has piss all over it. And then I have to make the decision, okay, do I wait? Do I hold it? Or do I nut up and wipe the piss myself with the toilet paper? Yeah. We've all had this to make this decision.
Most of the time, I won't clean it myself, but there's been a few times where I had to.
Where you just have to, like you're about to have diarrhea.
I had to go.
And let me say, I've destroyed toilets, but I always clean up after myself, no matter what.
At the very least, flush the damn toilet and wipe down the seat after yourself.
No, I've annihilated toilets before.
Yeah.
But I always clean it up. Okay,
I get it. Also, like if you make a big mess and like stuff gets on the floor,
when you're like shit, well,
and you don't want to clean it, that's not your job. I do get that to an extent.
But if you're had food poisoning,
flush the toilet at the very least. I don't get why people don't do that.
Yeah, it's such a simple thing.
Why don't people do that?
Oh yeah,
people just they go into a public restroom, they use the toilet, and then they stand up and they wipe and they stand up, pull up their pants up, and leave. And I'm like, you didn't even flush the damn toilet, dude. What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Now, okay, that's
we spent way too long talking about restrooms.
You get it, okay?
Yeah.
It's horrible.
I hate public restrooms.
People are just demonstrable. It makes you really question society.
Yeah. Also, like I've said, I've worked as a custodian before, and that just made me hate public restrooms even more. I can't
imagine. There's a lot of things I could talk about at this point. Ever since the new Space Jam movie came out, and will we ever watch it or make fun of it? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. It looks bad. It looks really bad.
I've heard it's bad.
Yeah. But either way.
I've heard it feels like a cash grab from Warner Brothers.
Yeah. Well, and the first one isn't good.
No. Okay. So the first one I watched again within the last couple of years.
It's fun. It's nostalgic.
No, I regret watching it again.
Because I haven't watched it since I was that age.
I had the nostalgia of it. And
Bill Murray's in it, though.
Yeah, Bill Murray's
and Michael Jordan's good.
That's always good. But I had the nostalgia of it, and I watched it again, and it ruined the nostalgia because it's not a good movie.
No.
And I wish I hadn't watched it because I liked it as a kid.
And I heard the new one's not even half as good as the first one.
Yeah.
So that tells you a lot. Either way.
No, we'll watch that as soon as we watch Artemis Fowl.
Oh, God. I watched like the first 5 minutes of that movie.
I've heard it's like one of the worst Disney movies ever made.
It's one of the worst movies I've seen. I enjoyed Hellboy more, so there you go.
Wow.
But anyways,
go back to all the way back to episode 2 if you want to know how we feel about that.
Yeah, way in the beginning when we didn't even have equipment or anything. But anyways, there's this whole thing. I don't know why or what started this, but there's this whole trend where they will take the LeBron James head off the LeBron James action figure because the company didn't put plastic or whatever around it, so you can just take the head off. They'll take the head off and run off with it and try to sell it on eBay or some stupid shit, therefore destroying the product.
Have people done that at your work?
Yes. All of our LeBron James had missing heads. We have to lock them up now. Talk about that society.
I will say I totally get why that is infuriating to you, but as an outsider, I find it pretty damn hilarious.
Okay, I have a question. Do you find it hilarious because it's such a stupid thing?
Because it's so stupid.
Yeah.
Because it's so stupid. And I can't be angry at it because I don't have a reason to be angry at it because I don't work in that industry. I don't.
Well, no, you should have a reason to be angry at it, though, because it's destroying a product. It's even worse than stealing. It's like now we can't even sell it. But yeah, that's one of the things. But there's a recent thing that's even way worse and that I don't have to deal with, but schools do. There's been a thing on TikTok. I don't know what they call it, but it's really stupid. It's really just punk ass shit. Where they will take apart shit at bathrooms. Like, oh, you all right?
Just build a few drops.
Yeah.
I dropped my bottle of cider, but then caught it and just some of it splashed up the top onto my hand.
Well, anyways, there's this saying. Well, they were these TikTok kids will take apart bathroom sinks, toilets, fire alarms, all the shit at their schools, and then in some schools in California, it's at the point, and high schools have you, where the whole class has to go to the bathroom. They cannot trust kids to go to the bathroom by themselves without vandalizing and stealing.
That annoys me because not in the sense of like I hate that people are doing it, but it just annoys me out of principle. Because at my work at the ice rink this past winter, we had this asshole. We never caught him. But he, for like a month straight, would like every weekend go and flush shot glasses down the damn toilet. And we had to call the plumber every fucking Monday.
Wow.
To have them fix the toilet. And it got to the point where my boss, the boss man, pulled me aside and said,
CJ?
No, Matt. CJ's the boss man, but there's a boss man above him too.
Oh, okay.
He pulled me aside and said, if you catch who's doing this, call the police.
Yeah.
And have them arrested.
Because that's destruction of property.
That's vandalism.
Yeah.
It's a city property. Call the police. So when I hear people doing stuff like that, it makes just... In reality, I don't really give a crap about some restroom somewhere and people doing that. But out of principle, I'm like... that is just vandalism. And that's not even like graffiti, where graffiti can be artful vandalism.
Yeah, it's not even
have a cultural purpose. This is just vandalism for the sake of vandalism.
It's not even just immoral. It's not even just
I don't care about the morals of it, really. I just think it's stupid. I'm like most people.
Well, it's not even just stupid though. It is literally vandalism.
Yeah, and that's I think the thing that annoys me about it, since you say about like stupidity and stuff like that, that kind of just makes me think the reason why I am so annoyed by that is the fact that I feel like most people who do stuff like that don't realize what they're doing.
Well, yeah, they're just following the trend.
They're just doing trends.
Cool,
they're just messing around. But I'm like, do you realize that like if we caught you, we'd call the police? Because that's vandalism. Every time someone flushed a shot glass down the toilet, that cost us $300 to get the plumber out here to fix it. But yeah, and that's why it annoys me so much. Out of just the principle of like, I don't think that people realize what they're doing.
Yeah,
and that just annoys me.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of other things I can think of. One. So,
you know what annoys me?
What's that?
When you're at a bar and the bartender keeps pouring you drinks before you have the chance to tell them you want to close your tab.
I know a bartender. I
There's
know
a
who
bartender,
you're talking about that.
There's a bartender we know that does that. And on one hand, sometimes when I'm there to drink, it's nice to not have to ask for another drink. But this bartender doesn't even wait till we're finished with our drink.
She's already pouring us.
It's like I still have a quarter left in my pint glass, and there's another beer in front of me already.
Now, usually it's when we're drinking PBRs. It's never been when I was drinking a more expensive beer.
And I'm just like, wait until I finish the damn beer to give me a chance to tell you. It's one thing if they pour another glass without asking. It's another thing if they don't give me a chance to say, oh, I need to close out.
Well, yeah, the last time that happened, I was going to say something, but I was like, you know what? I'll have this last beer because it's cheap anyways, like $3.
Yeah.
But before I even have had like 3/4 of it, I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to close out.
Yeah, because when I have a beer in front of me at a bar, I don't think to myself, I'm not thinking that about flagging down the bartender to close out until I'm almost done with the beer.
Usually, yeah, because you don't have to.
But when bartenders do that, where it's like you're only halfway through the beer and they're already pouring another one for you, I'm like, slow the fuck down.
No, this whole concept in general really grinds my gears because It's when someone assumes what you want. And not, instead of asking you the simple question, hey, do you want another beer? Do you want this? Do you want that?
Just like,
or like the door thing. It goes back to the door thing in the beginning. It's like assuming that you want them to hold the door open for you. It's like, don't assume anything. Either ask me or mind your own fucking business. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, the door thing is a little bit more petty.
You know we're explicit podcasts.
The door thing is a little bit more petty than the drink thing.
No, yeah, it's whatever.
But yeah, and the drink
that's
thing,
not costing you money.
The drink thing is still even just a little bit petty, because I could say when they pour a drink, say, okay, next one I need to close out. I could do that. There's steps I could take to prevent it, but
don't assume.
I shouldn't have to.
Don't give me drinks until I order my damn drink. Thank you.
You have to, as a bartender, you have to earn that right.
You have to know me.
As me being a regular, you have to. So there's only one bartender in town. Two, actually. There's two bartenders in town here that have earned that right for me, where I can walk in and they can assume what drink I'm going to drink.
Right.
They're not always right, but they are. I am a regular, and I know them well enough where they've earned the right to do that, and I won't be annoyed by it. Dustin and Carlos are those two bartenders.
Yep.
Where I can walk in, and they can assume. But Dustin's a good bartender. Carlos is too. They don't assume. Well, they do assume, but they don't pour it right away. I sit down, and Dustin will go,
like,
you're going to do a PBR?
Yeah.
And I'll be like, most of the time, be like, yeah.
Yeah. You always got to ask first.
Because they're good bartenders, and they don't.
What if you came in and you wanted something?
They don't take the extra step to assume. They just, they still ask even when they do think they know what you want.
I had this one bartender, this is kind of different offshoot, but this new bartender, the Starlight Lounge. She's not so new anymore, but she was when I was there. And she checked my ID, which, okay, I understand, but she also checked my dad's ID and everyone else's ID. Everyone that was obviously old enough. And I get it. Okay, you got to follow rules.
Yeah.
But here's the next strike. Here's the thing that really irked me.
It never annoys me when people, when I get checked my ID,
I understand.
When it's a bar I regular, I am slightly annoyed, but
you understand.
Out of the sense of like, I'm here all the time. But it's always like a new bartender, and I always have to stop myself and be like, no, they're just doing their job. Stop it, Colton. You're being petty. That's like that is like the most petty level for me, is getting annoyed when someone checks my ID.
Okay, and that was annoying already, but I let it slide.
But that's a super petty thing that it's petty enough where I stop myself and be like, you're being petty, Colton. Like, but they're just doing their done job.
There's a particular drink that we enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cheap. It's easy. But it's a fairly common thing here, actually, I've noticed.
What is this? Is the
Man Moses.
Oh, Man Moses, yeah. I love Man Moses.
Pretty common here, and I imagine in a lot of college towns. But
yeah, I don't know how common they are, but they're at least common here. In our town.
Definitely common here. But this bartender was like, what? I was like, a mimosa, and she was like, what's that? Like, and I was like, it's like a mimosa, but with like light beer instead of champagne. She was like, oh, I've never had that before. And she was like giving me this whole thing like she thought I was being an idiot for ordering what I wanted to order. Like, giving me this whole energy like, oh, you ordered something that I've never made before because I'm a new bartender. Therefore, it's not valid. It's like, it is valid. And I can order goddamn anything I want to order at this bar. I can come up with any weird drink I want.
I had this one
so
time.
So don't give me that attitude. I'm paying you.
I've learned that there are certain drinks that I kind of think a bartender should know how to make.
No, that's a whole other thing.
That I've encountered so many bartenders that don't know how to make drinks.
Right.
Well, I never expect it. But like, there's been times where bartenders, give me attitude. Where there's one time, so one of my favorite mixed drinks is called Tom Collins. gin and soda
and that's not like
lemon,
a rare or weird
is.
mixed drink. That's
no, it's not.
It's not super common, but it's still a known, well known.
It's common enough where
you can get Tom Collins mixes for crying out loud.
It's common enough where if a bartender actually took the time to learn mixed drinks, they would know how to make it.
Yeah,
but most bartenders around this town don't know that drink.
Jeez,
because we have most of the bartenders in our town. We live in a pretty small town. Are bartenders that learn how to bartend through experience, which is not a bad way. I'm not saying that's lesser of a way to learn how to bartend, but
just as valid.
But for example, I went to this place. I went to Father Daughter's Pizza.
I haven't been there in a while.
Ever since they added the bar, the service has been awful. But they changed locations, and I know they have a bunch of new employees.
I haven't been to the new location,
so I haven't been there yet. Maybe it's improved. So, but I went there a couple years ago, and I was sitting at the bar, and I said to the bartender, because I had a couple beers, and they're like, do you want another beer or you want something else? And I was kind of in the mood for Tom Collins. I said, because I've had experiences where bartenders don't know how to make this drink. So I said, do you know how to make a Tom Collins? And the bartender said, no, I've never heard of that drink before. So I said, I explained how to make it.
Okay.
And then I said, and in hindsight...
That's reasonable so far.
Yeah. And in hindsight, what I said next was I put it as kind of an asshole way. I explained how to make it, and I said, can you make that? Which in hindsight, it's such a simple drink. Explaining it and then going, can you make that?
Mm-hmm.
Is kind of an asshole thing. And then everyone at the bar, including the bartender, started laughing at me and making fun of me for that. And the entire rest of the time I was sitting at the bar, they kept referencing that and being like, can you make that? And I had to be like, no, she didn't know how to make it though.
That would be the point where I just leave.
Yeah, and I
wouldn't be able to
I drank
handle
my drink, I paid my tab, and I left. I was like, you guys are assholes. Like, in hindsight, yeah, I phrased it in kind of a not the best way. So I wouldn't put all the blame on them, but I'm like, you guys shouldn't, like...
I really don't think
like,
so,
they started teasing me about it.
Colton, honestly, I don't think you were really being an asshole there. I think they were being
I don't think I was being
'Cause-
much of an asshole. When I say in hindsight, I put it as kind of an asshole way, I meant like, if they had said like, yeah, I can make that. Like, kind of like tease me at the moment, I would have been like, okay, that's reasonable because I put it in kind of an asshole type of way. But I'm like, I don't think it was unreasonable for me to say, do you know how to make this drink? They said, no, I've never even heard of that drink. And I said, okay, let me explain it. Can you make that? And then they make fun of me for the rest of the time I'm sitting at the bar for saying, can she make that?
All right.
And also, she did not do a good job making it.
I bet she didn't.
It just drove me fucking crazy.
Here's the thing. If you're a bartender or if you're in the food service industry and you're expected to know... Well, let me just go back to bartender. You're a bartender. Whether you're new or not, you're expected to be a bartender. Your job isn't to argue or to question. Your job is to make drinks for people.
Yeah.
And maybe be nice while at it or funny or whatever. If someone kindly, well, even if not even kindly, if someone tells you, hey, I want a Tom Collins. You're like, oh, I don't know what that is. And they explain to you what it is.
Yeah.
And then ask you, can you make it?
Well, it's because I
mean, it depends on your tone.
I never assume a bartender knows how to make a drink.
Right, yeah.
Because like I said, some bartenders
and it's not
learn through experience, and they don't learn drinks because they live in a town where people just order beer.
Or rum and coke.
Or rum and coke. I'd never assume a bartender knows how to make a drink. But you shouldn't make fun of your customer.
That's what I was going to get to.
How to make a drink.
I don't expect you to know everything. I don't really expect you to know how to do anything.
When I say, can you make this? And they say no, and I explain to you, and then say, now can you make it?
And then they laugh about it?
And they make fun of you?
Yeah,
that is unprofessional.
That's really unprofessional.
Bad.
I would honestly potentially not go to your bar again, or at least if I know you're bartending.
I really haven't been there since.
And where was that?
Father Daughter's Pizza.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I
haven't been there.
Your job is to mix drinks for people and serve them drinks and serve them what they want to be served with what you have. Now, obviously, if some asshole comes asking for a beer that you obviously don't have on tap or or you don't even have a bottle of it, and you're like, I don't have that.
And
okay.
And bartenders do learn to pick up. A good bartender learns how to pick up on signs. I was at J-Bo's one time. I was sitting. There was a guy 2 seats away from me. And the guy came and sat. Clearly, you could smell the alcohol on his breath. Sat right in between us, and Josh was bartending. Do you remember Josh?
Yeah, really big guy, right?
Big guy, yeah. And the guy came and sat between me and this other guy, and went, "What's your beer with the highest alcohol?" And you could smell it on his breath. And Josh picked up on it right away. Oh, well, first he was like, "It's this beer," and then and I don't remember what the guy said next. But then Josh picked up on it. He was like, "You need to leave." And I remember the guy that was sitting on the other side of this drunk guy. Me and him both kind of scooted away like a foot. But I talked to the guy later, and the guy left. But I talked to the guy that was at the bar with me later. And we were both ready to jump in and back up the bartender.
Oh yeah, definitely.
No, but it just annoys me when. But you're right that it's a bartender's job to make the drink how the customer wants it, and to not make fun of it.
I'm not expecting you to know how to. Even professional bartenders aren't going to know every single drink, especially niche things or whatever.
Yeah,
but
there's a bar I used to frequent.
Serve the customer?
Yeah, there's a bar I used to frequent.
Because that's what you're getting paid to do?
Yeah. There's a bar I used to frequent where a lot of the people that were regulars there had a specific way they liked martinis to be made.
Yeah.
I thought they were wrong. I have very strong opinions about martinis. They are wrong.
Wait, real quick.
Yeah.
We kind of sound like Karens.
But
do not think that. Here's what I'm gonna say. Obviously, a bartender is there to mix you drinks and serve you drinks and give you what you want of what they have. Reasonably.
Yeah.
But me as a patron, as a customer, I'm not gonna be an ass about. I'm not.
We've worked food service and customer service. We understand when this bartender was an ass to me, made fun of me. I didn't call the manager. I drank my drink, and I paid my tab, and I left. I didn't make a big fuss out of it. I just didn't go with it back there.
If they don't know how to make a drink, you got to understand. I mean, some people could be new. Some people just might not know.
That's why I asked her if she knew how to make that drink, because I was like, some bartenders just don't know how to make that drink for.
So we're not saying you can just treat people in the food industry or bartender or whatever.
No,
or
still
anything.
Be polite. Don't be an ass.
Just because you're the customer doesn't mean you're entitled to be a complete asshole and treat them like a dog. But at the same time, they should at least not know everything, but be able to adapt and be able to give you what you desire within reason.
Yeah, within reason.
This is all within reason.
Yeah.
It's not like going to a local dive bar and saying, "Oh, I want a A-train or whatever."
Yeah. I mean, when that bartender teased me and all the and the patrons, the people at the bar chimed in too. I kind of just did the thing where I paid my tab and I kind of rolled my eyes and I went next door to the next bar. But I'm like, I'm done drinking here. I'm just gonna leave them alone.
There's
whatever.
There's this one bar back home. It's fancy, like upper tier. You got to dress nice there, or people will question you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like on the rooftop of this building. It's nice. I mean, it's really cool. I honestly really like it. Honestly, it's not like people are dressed nice there and stuff, but they're not like assholes. They're not like posh. Like
it's like a friendly environment, but makes you feel fancy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but
those are fun.
Like that, the bartender at this place, he knows everything. Yeah, he is a true mixologist. I can ask him anything, he will give it to me, and it will probably be exactly how I want it. You can't expect every bartender to be like that.
Well, I say like a drink like a Tom Collins, a bartender should know how to make that.
Yeah.
I mean a bartender who's trained in mixology should know how to make that. Like I said, a lot of bartenders, probably more bartenders than not, learn through experience, and you don't learn every drink that way.
But like this bartender,
and that's not a bad way to learn to be a bartender.
She gave me this attitude like, oh, I've never heard of this, so it's not valid. I'm just a guy trying to get a man moza, which is just orange juice and beer. Come on.
Well,
like
what I was saying about like that. So I've reached this bar where all these.
I don't order fancy drinks usually.
All the regulars there, they had a very specific way they agreed that martinis were supposed to be made. They're fucking wrong, but I'm not going to get into how martinis are made.
Is it the James Bond way?
No, but it's not the Vesper martini, which is
also No Time to Die is coming out.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that.
I really want to do some James Bond.
We should.
Stuff.
Maybe we'll do something James Bond soon. But
we're getting almost to 2 hours.
Yeah, we're almost done here
without editing.
But they all had this way they like their martinis made, and it was never criticized there or anything like that. I heavily disagree with them. I kept my mouth shut. And then later on, I talked to the bartender who worked there, because she works at a different bar now, and I asked her how a martini is made, and she agrees with me on the martini. She said, basically was like, yeah, they were all fucking wrong.
And what's that?
A martini, well, the way they like the martini made was you rinse the glass in vermouth, pour the vermouth out into the sink, take gin, ice, shaker, shake it, gin. Basically, martini is a very fancy shot.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree. Martini is a cocktail. It's my favorite way. It varies from person to person. Is 1 part vermouth, 2 parts gin. I think if you're not using expensive gin, it doesn't matter that much.
Right.
If it's shaken or stirred, technically it's supposed to be stirred. I don't.
But James Bond likes it shaken, not stirred.
Yeah, I think if you're using your typical gin you'd find at a bar like Bombay Sapphire or something like that, it doesn't matter that much. But my point is, it's a cocktail. The vermouth is an actual ingredient. They disagree. But my point is, I talked to this bartender. She disagreed with all these patients. These patrons.
Wait. Who's to trust James Bond when he kicks a guy's teeth into a sink?
Yeah.
And
I don't trust
molest women.
He's a spy. He's not supposed
He's
to
a
be
horrible
trusted.
person.
Yeah. He's a spy and a womanizer.
Maybe the
He
Roger
not
Moore
to be
version is
trusted.
the best version, honestly. The
Not-
nicest version, at least.
Maybe, but he's
But
not
either
even
way.
that good, though. But the point is, this bartender agreed with me and said, yeah, all those people were wrong, but she never corrected them or gave them shit about it when they ordered their martinis. They said, this is how I like a martini made, make it. So she made it.
And, this is very Karen of me, but I hate to say that, like, don't make a deal out of it. Just serve them what they want, how they want it, because for one, that's kind of what you're supposed to do anyways. Because everyone has a particular way they like a drink.
Yeah.
When
it comes down to it, you drink a cocktail how you like it made.
But also, just avoid that conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Why make a deal out of it? Why get into a conversation or an argument over how the drink's supposed to be made?
Well, it's this general idea that I think a lot of people don't understand. This actually plays into a lot of my pet peeves.
Well, it plays
Not
into
just
so
with
many
bartending,
things.
but customer service and all this shit is
To almost anything.
the idea of pick your battles.
Pick your battles, but also, pick your battles, but just realize that everyone's different. Everyone likes things a certain way. Everyone, we're talking about like things that make us angry this whole time, and I think they're very reasonable and demonstrable. And
Yeah.
I hate, those kinds of people. But at the same time, just mind your business.
Some
Just
things are
do
not worth making a deal about.
As long as someone's not imposing their beliefs or, ways of life, or like someone's not infringing on your rights to be yourself, and, who cares? Let people do what they want to do. I mean, this is something we've always said.
Most of the pet peeves we've mentioned today come down to the reason we're bitching about them here on the podcast to all you listeners is that we know how to pick our battles for the most part. I'm not saying we're perfect.
No, we're not. No one's perfect.
But we pick our battles, and these are the things that we choose, that we decide are not worth wasting the energy on. But they still
Well,
annoy
some
us.
of them.
But they still, most of them. But they still annoy us.
But the point...
So that's why we're bitching to you guys about it.
But if it's minor things like on how someone wants a drink or how someone eats their food or talks or how someone identifies, you know, who freaking cares as long as it's not affecting you or harming anybody? Let them do what they want to do. Let them be themselves.
Yeah.
Okay? Stop trying to impose your beliefs on other people and you'll have a way better life. I can promise you that.
You know? No,
But
it's
here's
perfect.
something I want to say. Oh, I almost forgot it.
Got it? You good?
Don't try to control what other people do. You can only control what you do.
Yeah.
Be the best person you can be.
Exactly.
As long as you're not hurting anybody or hurting yourself.
Exactly.
Who cares? Stick to yourself. Do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
And
Don't use other people. Don't control them.
don't impose your beliefs on other people.
But also, if they try to control you or use you, that's wrong.
No, yeah, don't let that happen. Like,
don't allow them to do that.
and you know, here at this establishment, this podcast,
it's not wrong to stand up for yourself, but not getting the right ingredient in your burrito and complain to the manager, that's not standing up for someone using you. That was just a mistake and you're being an ass.
Yeah.
There's a difference between someone using you and a mistake.
But yeah, basically, my philosophy is mind your own business, do what you want to do, don't hurt anybody, don't impose your beliefs on anybody, let them do what they want to do as long as they're not hurting anybody, and it's good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
So, you know, anyone that has a problem with someone for their religious beliefs, their sexuality, their gender, their race, if you have a problem with that, I think you know what I want to say.
Fuck off?
Yeah, fuck off. Seriously.
Is that
I don't
put it
want
well?
anyone that has, if any of, and I know our listeners don't, I know, okay? But if any of you have a problem with that, I want you to take a good look at yourself in the mirror and fuck off, basically, essentially. Yeah. That's my philosophy. So, yeah, we may be angry at a lot of things, but not for bad.
Sometimes it's good
reasons.
to do an angry episode.
And, but anyways, I want to end this on a good note.
Yeah.
I have an idea of what we're going to do the last episode before Spooktober.
Yeah.
We won't tell you, but it's not going to be heated and angry like this. We're going to go back to our normal.
We just do the angry episodes every now and then.
But
the angry episodes seem to do well, though.
Yeah.
So we'll like them.
But everyone, I wish you all a great day, night, whatever. Have a good time. Enjoy life, but don't be an asshole.
Yeah, if you can let stuff get to you, you can be petty, but don't be an ass.
And if someone else is being an ass to you, you know what?
Pick your battles. It might not be worth it.
Pick the right battles.
Yeah, pick your battles. If you're upset about something, it might not be worth it. So just go home and bitch about it to your roommate.
Exactly.
That's what we do. We're bitching about it to you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting us.
It's a really great outlet.
Let out our frustration at you. Anyway, it's been a good episode. Do
all that stuff. Look at the Linktree. Look at our Instagram. Follow us. Do all the Facebook stuff. Do all the stuff. Do download. Rate us on Apple Podcasts, and we'll see you next week. Yeah. Roll that outro.
This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. The Odd Drunk Podcast recommends that you follow their Instagram and join their Facebook group for more fun content. To view all of our current available streaming and social media platforms, visit our Linktree in the description below. If you enjoy the show, it would be appreciated if you leave us a rating or a review on Apple Podcasts. Okay, Colton, you can roll the outro now.